All right, you survived another weekend. You're raring to go. You're ready for another week. You're excited about Monday. Whoa, let's go. Let's bring it. The month is done. Let's get this going. It's October. This week starts. Whew. Are you excited? Are you ready? Yes, yes, yes. Let's do it. Hey, listen, what's going on? You like the outfit? Did this draw you in? Do you feel like I'm in gangster mode right now? I'm in gangster mode now. Let's go. Monday, it's Gangster Mondays. Let's do this. All right. I'm going to have a little tough love because there's one thing you don't need. You don't need more of this in order to lose weight. It's one thing you don't need. Of course, it's Monday. You want to be ready. You want to be excited. You want to do this. It's Monday. Mark, that's how I feel every Monday. Every Monday is the same thing. I'm disappointed and excited. I'm disappointed that I let myself go last week, and I'm excited that it's a brand new week. And I know, God gives me the grace to move forward, and He gives me another day. Like you even said, Mark, He gives you another day, another breath in your lungs, another heartbeat, opens your eyes. If we can have a beautiful day, it's awesome. It's awesome, but it can't stop there. It can't stop with this feeling. Feelings aren't going to get you results. Motivation is not going to get you results. In fact, that's the one thing. If there's one thing you don't need more of in order to lose weight, it's motivation. I think people get stuck in a sea of motivation, to be honest with you. I think we get drowned in motivation, right? Like, hey, I even share posts and inspire you and encourage, and there's motivation in there. Maybe there's motivation, but then you're like, yeah, Mark, I'm just not motivated. Well, motivation isn't how you get in better shape. It's not how. Motivation is not, it's a terrible thing to rely on. So if you're motivated, it's Monday and it's Motivation Monday, do yourself a favor. And maybe that's the one thing you need to remove so that you can do this one thing, and that's take action. You see, there's a difference between being motivated to do something and freaking doing it. It is Monday and it's time to be doing something. You're either going to be doing something to help you lose weight, or you're going to be doing another thing, some other thing that's going to prevent you from losing weight, right? And like, oh, well, Mark, here we go. Let's roll into it this morning. And this isn't me to just kind of cast judgment on anybody. It's just to help give you perspective on what needs to happen. Because if nothing happens, nothing changes. If you do nothing to change your habits, nothing to change the current path you're on, and you're overweight, and you don't like being over. Now, you're in God's eyes, you're beautiful no matter what weight you are, no matter what you look like, no matter if you have hair, no matter if you're wearing a gangster bandana, no matter how old you are, no matter, how appealing or sexy you are, no matter how you feel. And in God's eyes, you're 100% enough the way you are, right? He values you just as much as He did when you were born. He values you as much as you did when you were a teenager and maybe in your 20s, despite maybe even not even knowing Him. Like for me, I didn't know the Lord. I didn't really have a relationship with God until really I was in my 30s. And it was really that what kind of hit me in the head, gangster style. God came up on me gangster style and He said, pop, pop, pop. And He said, oh, yeah. He said, yeah. You and we got to have a talk. You and I need this relationship. And you know what? And then I realized, yeah, I'm valuable no matter what I look like. And the same with you. But I can say this. You don't need any more motivation when it comes to losing weight. You need to get going and start doing it. It ain't going to get any easier. Trust me. I've talked to plenty of people. And if you're this person that's stuck, if you're that mom or dad over 40, and I say over 40, it's just because it's a season of life. Maybe you're in your 30s and you're stuck and you've been stuck for 10 years. And I would say is for you as well, this message can be for you. But typically who are listening to me now, if you're in your 40s, maybe you're even in your later 50s and you're in a really bad spot and you're stuck and you're like, yeah, I see all the motivational stuff. I've seen the post. I even pray about it and I'm close to God and all these things. And why am I still having a hard time? Why can I not get it together? Because you're failing to take action. At the end of the day, it requires action. The hardest thing about getting in shape, the hardest thing about losing weight is it actually requires you to take the staircase, as I just posted prior to coming on here. It's why it took me a couple of moments and sharing Rocky. When I think about Rocky, I know this isn't like the Rocky. Maybe this is Rocky, 10? We'll be in the Rocky 10. I think he's had one that wasn't too long ago. His comeback, and he's still kicking, right? So it was one of my favorite movies. I love Rocky. And what do you think about the training, right? The comeback. Like, think about this. If you think of it, I don't remember if you're like a hardcore Rocky fan, I forget the name, which one was which, but I loved them all, and they were awesome. And I remember, what did he do before he got in the ring to fight? He trained, he practiced, he took action, right? And when he sloughed off, and when he let the success get to him, and like what happens all the time when I see people lose weight, they start to lose weight, they get on some kind of quick fix, and they get where they're having a little fun, and they're like, oh, this isn't so hard. I restricted calories, I cut calories, I didn't exercise, I went and took some pills, some fat loss pills, some fat burners, I started doing keto, had some success, and then guess what happens? Then you start to slack off, right? You start to slack off, and then guess what happens? And you go back to not even where you were before. Chances are you go back to where you were worse. It gets worse. You put back on the 20 pounds you lost on that quick fix, and then guess what? Then you're so mad and frustrated, and then you just eat your emotions, and then you're 20 pounds on top of that. So now you're 40 pounds overweight. So if this is resonating with you, now if you're on a perfect path, if you're like in the great training program and your diet's dialed, then this message isn't for you. But if I know there's a lot of people out there, I know that, because still, today, it's getting worse and worse, despite all of the gyms, despite all of the trainers, despite all the coaches, despite all of the awesome apps, besides the Pelotons and the new mirrors and all the fitness gadgets and gizmos. Guess what? We're still getting more and more overweight over the years. You can go look up, whether you trust the CDC or not, you can go look up the statistics and look at obesity in a population. You can look in our country, you can look in the world. The reality is it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And there's actually more options now, again. And you know what? You could be more motivated now by something. There's got to be something that motivates you, but it's not motivation that's going to move the needle. You got to have to take action, right? You got to maybe you need to put your war Band-Aid on and go to battle. Maybe you need somebody in your world. For me, I know in my business, I know in my health, I have people that are looking over, that are helping me push, they're helping to push me. Actually, they're more like pulling me along. They're helping bring me in the direction. You can listen to all the inspiration. Maybe you've watched, what are we on now? Episode number 100 and 80 something. Maybe you watched every single one of my episodes, and it inspired you and it encouraged you, and you did jack squat, and you're still out of shape. You're still overweight. You still haven't taken one step forward. And if you think of that, if you think back to that Rocky movie, right? You think of when he goes to the park and he's running up the stairs, doing the jump rope. He's got to climb the steps, right? He's got to climb. You can't just jump all the way to the top. You can't just start like a sensible program. You can't just start in exercise and expect 10 years of neglect to be fixed in a couple of weeks, or even a couple of months for that matter. You see, I don't offer anything like that in my coaching program. And now you may be inspired, and this maybe give you the kick in the butt, and maybe you're motivated, but I guarantee you're going to fall short come Tuesday or Wednesday when, the SHIT hits the fan at work, or your schedule gets thrown off, or your kids need you to drive you here to there. Does that not sound familiar? The reason why I come on here and share this is I don't want you to lose anymore. I want you to be that like winner. I want you to raise that belt like, I won, I did this. I'm beating this. It's not just winning it once, it's winning it every day. You see, the reality is with our health and with weight loss, it doesn't mean you just go to the point where you lose the weight and then you can just retire. You don't retire from, I say, losing weight or getting in shape or being fit. It's an ongoing process. If you want to be the champ, you want to hold that title, right? You want to maintain the championship. You're going to have to go to war, right? You think of Rocky, he won, right? And then he got notoriety and people recognize, oh my gosh, you're a great boxer. And then guess what? And then he got in the ring with Apollo Creed, and then he got in the ring with, who's the other guy? I forget his name. Oh my gosh, it's not coming to me. I forgot a couple of the names now, but anyway, he got into the ring. Oh, with Clubber Lang, with Mr. T, and he got in the ring. And guess what? There's going to be battles that you're going to have to fight, and it's going to be ongoing, unless you want to get knocked out. And then what happens when you get knocked out, or at least punched? There's a difference between getting knocked out and getting punched and maybe knocked down. The difference is you get knocked out, you're not getting back up, right? And maybe that's where you're the spot where you just are feeling like lost. You don't want to get back up. Like you're like, I've tried. I'm just going to stay. You're going to be down for the count, right? You don't want to be down for the count. Nobody knows if you're losing, right? They only know when you're winning. So win. Let's do this. Come on. And look at. Here's the steps you need to take. You need to first and foremost, don't come into every Monday getting inspired by me or motivated by me on Monday and then not taking action. The reality is you got to actually just take action. Taking action requires a big step, yes, but in order for you to lose weight, if you want to lose weight, if you're serious about it and you want to lose weight, don't necessarily think it's going to be easy. It probably is not going to be easy. It's simple. It's very simple to do. If you have the right coach, you have the right tools, you have the right accountability, the right structure in place. You don't want to overthink it. We talked about that yesterday. You don't want to overthink things and I just don't have the time, Mark. My life's just too busy. I have to get up and I have to work. Trust me, that's a sorry excuse. Those excuses are done. I've worked with way too many people that have had probably way busier schedules than yours. They have tons of kids, full-time schedule, full-time job, full-time school, and they're making it happen. Why? Because it matters to them. And why else is it working? Is because not only does it matter to them, is that they're not just relying on motivation, and I hope you don't either. So I hope that was not motivational. I hope that was encouraging to you. I hope I gave you some inspiration to actually take action, right? And what it might look like is for you to shoot me a message. I don't know how many times I've had some people come on like, Mark, I've been following you for a couple months. I had a few people, I've been following you for a couple years, and I wish I took action sooner. It's kind of like when I was in orthopedics, I worked in rehab, and I used to work with patients post-op with hip replacements and knee replacements and back surgeries and shoulder replacements, all that stuff. And a lot of times the resonating voice say, I really wish I got this done sooner. I was in so much pain for so long, particularly hips, because hips are fairly you notice it right away after you feel 1,000 times better. So maybe you've had a hip replacement, maybe you're on your way to a hip replacement because you're overweight and your joints are worn out. And I would say is if you are, then that may be something to think about, but also just relate it to that person that said, man, I wish I had been in pain in my hip for the past 5 years. And Mark, I wish the doctor who told me my hip joints were worn out, they needed to be replaced. And then I just kind of waited and stalled and stayed on the fence and hung out and nothing happened, and honestly get worse. And it's the same respect to you and your weight loss journey. If you're struggling and you're stuck and it's painful, chances are if you're overweight, it's painful. It's painful not only maybe physically, it might be painful emotionally, right? Nobody wants to talk about that. I will. I'm that coach. I'm not here fat shaming anybody, but the reality is it freaking sucks to be overweight. I knew for the times in my life where I was up and down on the weight loss scale, particularly a big time in college, it sucked. I felt terrible about myself. I had no energy. I was doing poorly in school. I had no relationships. I was in the bottom of the barrel when it came to like feeling confident about myself. And maybe that's where you're at. Maybe there's a lot of pain. It's time to get out of that pain. How long do you want to be in that pain? It may be time that you see the surgeon. Now, I'm not the orthopedic surgeon, but when it comes to weight loss, I'm a different kind of surgeon. I want to remove the crap that's in your life so that you can actually live the healthiest and best life that you know is possible. You know it's possible. Why? Because you see other people that are your age that are just as busy as you, that have just as many kids, that maybe have just as much on their plate and schedule, and they're still making it happen. And you know who two of them are? My wife and I. My wife's got a full-time schedule. She has kids. We do laundry, we feed, we cook, clean, all those kind of things. Well, we have help with cleaners. Well, we're busy. I run a business and I have to take care of the kids. There's a lot on our plate, right? And we have a lot going on. But guess what? We're still making it happen. And why? Because we're relying on more than motivation, and you should too. We're taking action. That's what it's required. Today is the day you can take action. 3 more months. Are you going to wait like every other person and wait till the New Year's resolution that's going to last for 4 freaking days? Oh my gosh, aren't you tired of crawling on that hamster wheel? That's the normality way, which ends up being the wrong way because it ends up not being a solution, right? Let's get this taken care of. 3 months. Hit me up right now. I got a program that might be just for you. I work with people over 40. I'm an online coach. It's completely online. Doesn't matter where you live in this world. Doesn't matter where you now maybe you're able to travel in this world either. Doesn't matter if you have a gym membership. It doesn't matter if you don't have that much time. We can talk about that because that's the program that I've actually built over the past 25 years of experience. Why continue to struggle on your own when there is a better way? That's all I have today. Take care and have a blessed